Meryl Streep throughout the 2000s appeared in many cinematic and theatrical productions. In 2001, Streep's voice appeared in the animated film AI, Artificial Intelligence. Streep that same year co-hosted the annual Nobel Peace Prize concert as well as appeared in the popular play The Seagull. In 2002, Streep appeared in the film's adaptation and The Hours. In 2003, Streep appeared unaccredited in the comedy Stuck on You and starred in the HBO play adaptation Angels in America. In 2004, Streep was awarded the AFI Life Achievement Award and in that same year starred in the films The Manchurian Candidate and Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events. In 2005, Streep starred in the film Prime. Streep began 2006 with the film A Prairie Home Companion and that same year starred in The Devil Wears Prada and the stage production Mother Courage and Her Children. In 2007, Streep appeared in the films Dark Matter, Rendition, Evening, and Lions for Lambs. In 2008, Streep starred in the films Mamma Mia and Out. In 2009, Streep starred in Julie and Julia and It's Complicated as well as loaning her voice to the animated film Fantastic Mr. Fox, 2001 to 2005. In 2001, Meryl Streep voiced the Blue Fairy in Steven Spielberg's AI, Artificial Intelligence based on Brian Aldiss' short story Super Toys Last All Summer Long, first published in 1969, a CGI-driven science fiction film, initially conceived by Stanley Kubrick in the early 1970s. It revolves about a childlike android, played by Haley Joel Osment, uniquely programmed with the ability to love. A critical and commercial success, the film collected $235.9 million at international box offices. The same year, Streep co-hosted the annual Nobel Peace Prize concert with Liam Neeson which was held in Oslo, Norway on December 11, 2001 in honor of the Nobel Peace Prize laureate, the United Nations and Kofi Annan, and, after a stage absence of more than 20 years, she persuaded Mike Nichols to stage Anton Chekhov's popular play The Seagull at the Open Air Delacorte Theatre in New York, playing actress Irina Nikolaevna Arkadina, co-starring Kevin Kline, Marcia Gay Harden, Natalie Portman and her eldest son Henry. The play received favorable reviews, with the New York Times remarking, 2 decades in front of movie cameras haven't diminished her capacity for looming large from a stage. Streep has drawn a portrait of comic ruthlessness and gentle understanding. In Spike Jonze's 2002 comedy drama adaptation, Streep portrayed Susan Orlin, a real-life journalist whose book is to be adapted by screenwriter Charlie Kaufman, played by Nicolas Cage. Streep, who declared the screenplay one of the most interesting and ambiguous scripts in a long time, expressed dire interest in the role before being cast, and took a salary cut in recognition of the film's budget of $19 million. Lauded by critics and viewers alike, the film was nominated for 4 Academy Awards, including a Best Supporting Actress nomination for Streep, who David Ansen of Newsweek felt had not been this much fun to watch in years. While adaptation ended Streep's winning drought at the Golden Globes when she, after 13 nominations, was awarded her first trophy since 1982's Sophie's Choice in 2003. She received a second nomination by the Hollywood Foreign Press for her participation in another project that year, Stephen Daldry's The Hours, 2002. In The Hours, featuring Nicole Kidman and Julianne Moore, Streep played the role of Clarissa, a literary editor who is followed for one climactic day, during which she plans a party for her longtime friend and one-time lover, played by Ed Harris, who is wasting away from AIDS. Based on the 1999 novel of the same title by Michael Cunningham, the episodic film focuses on 3 women of different generations whose lives are interconnected by the 1925 novel Mrs. Dalloway by Virginia Woolf. Generally well received, The Hours was praised for the performances of all 3 leading actresses, who shared a Silver Bear for Best Actress the following year. Peter Travers of Rolling Stone commented, "These 3 unimprovable actresses make The Hours a thing of beauty." Streep is a miracle worker, building a character in the space between words and worlds. The film grossed $108.8 million worldwide on a budget of $25 million, the majority of which came from foreign markets. In 2003, Streep appeared uncredited as herself in the Farrelly Brothers film Stuck on You, a comedy about conjoined twins, played by Matt Damon and Greg Kinnear, who wished to move to Hollywood to pursue a career as an actor. Streep, who filmed her part within 3 days, was required to perform a musical version of Bonnie and Clyde in the film. The same year, she reunited with Mike Nichols to star alongside Al Pacino, Emma Thompson and Mary Louise Parker in the HBO adaptation of Tony Kushner's 6-hour play Angels in America, the story of 2 couples whose relationships dissolve amidst the backdrop of Reagan-era politics, the spreading AIDS epidemic and a rapidly changing social and political climate, as done in the play. Some of the actors played multiple parts in the miniseries, with Streep portraying 3 different characters: an Orthodox rabbi, a Mormon woman and American communist Ethel Rosenberg. The miniseries became the most watched made-for-cable movie in 2003, and garnered 21 Emmy Award and 5 Golden Globe nominations, winning Streep 1 award each. In 2004, Streep became the youngest woman to ever be awarded the AFI Life Achievement Award by the Board of Directors of the American Film Institute, which honors an individual for a lifetime contribution to enriching American culture through motion pictures and television. The same year, she appeared with Denzel Washington in Jonathan Demme's The Manchurian Candidate, a remake of the same-titled 1962 film based on the 1959 novel by Richard Condon. Streep, who did not know the original movie prior to filming, took over a role originated by Angela Lansbury, playing a U.S. senator and manipulative, ruthless mother of a vice presidential candidate, played by Liev Schreiber. On her Golden Globe-nominated performance, Mick LaSalle of the San Francisco Chronicle commented that no one can talk about the acting in The Manchurian Candidate without rhapsodizing about Streep. She's a pleasure to watch, and to marvel at, every second she's on screen. The thriller became a moderate box office success, grossing $96 million worldwide on a budget of $80 million. Also in 2004, Streep appeared alongside Jim Carrey and Timothy Spall in Brad Silberling's adaptation Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events. Based on the first 3 novels in Snicket's popular children's book series, the black comedy tells the story of Count Olaf Carey, a mysterious theater troupe actor, who attempts to deceive 3 orphans over their deceased parents' fortune. Streep was cast in the role of the children's over-anxious Aunt Josephine, a character she has described as a great tremulous bird of a person. The film received generally favorable reviews from critics, who called it exceptionally clever, hilariously gloomy and bitingly subversive, and was nominated for 4 Academy Awards, winning in the Best Makeup category. Though the film became a financial success, grossing $209 million on a budget of $140 million, plans to expand the film into a franchise failed to materialize. Streep was next cast in the 2005 romantic comedy Prime, directed by Ben Younger. In the film, she plays a Jewish New York psychoanalyst, whose 23-year-old son, played by Brian Greenberg, enters a relationship with one of her patients, a divorced 37-year-old businesswoman, played by Uma Thurman, resulting into a dilemma of 2 conflicting intentions. Streep welcomed the opportunity to reprise her comedic talent, though she and Younger agreed on her not consciously playing the part for laughs. Prime received generally mixed reviews, with many critics declaring it another formulaic Hollywood rom-com. Desson Thompson of The Washington Post commented that the film followed a familiar boy-meets-girl scenario, but found that Younger had turned the routine into combustible fun and that Streep, meant to be the third party here, rapidly becomes the drama's most entertaining nucleus. A modest mainstream success, the film eventually grossed $67.9 million internationally. 2006-2007, Streep began 2006 with A Prairie Home Companion, director Robert Altman's final film, an ensemble piece featuring Tommy Lee Jones, Kevin Kline, Woody Harrelson, and Lindsay Lohan. The film revolves around the behind-the-scenes activities at a long-running public radio show which is nearing its cancellation, depicting the show's final broadcast. Streep, initially unsure about the gestalt of the movie due to its genre-crossing nature, noted it an odd little creature. In the film, she, along with Lily Tomlin, portrayed one half of a sister duo which was once part of a popular family country music act. Required to perform her own vocals in the film, Altman decided to cast Streep without any vocal audition. After releasing in several film festivals, the film grossed over $26 million, the majority of which came from domestic markets. General reaction to the film was favorable by critics, who called it a worthy swan song from one of the cinema's best, resulting into an average 81 fresh rating at Rotten Tomatoes. The same year, Streep appeared in The Devil Wears Prada, 2006, a loose screen adaptation of Lauren Weisberger's 2003 novel of the same name, co-starring Anne Hathaway as a recent college graduate who goes to New York City and gets a job as a co-assistant at the fictional fashion magazine Runway. Streep played the powerful, demanding and much feared editor Miranda Priestley, though widely speculated that Streep's performance was modeled after Vogue editor Anna Wintour, to whom Weisberger had once been an assistant. The actress denied basing her portrayal on Wintour, stating that she was just interested in making a human being as contradictory and messy as we all are. While the film itself received a mixed reception, Streep's performance drew rave reviews from critics and later earned her many award nominations, including her record-setting 14th Oscar bid, as well as another Golden Globe. In her review for The Washington Post, Jennifer Frey wrote that when Streep's on the screen, she has the same effect her role on her audience. She totally commands every scene. The film was the biggest box office success of Streep's career and grossed more than $326.5 million. Also in 2006, Streep returned to the New York Delacorte Theater when she starred on stage at the Public Theater's production of Mother Courage and Her Children. The play was a new translation by playwright Tony Kushner, with songs written by composer Janine Tessery and direction by George C. Wolfe. Streep starred alongside Kevin Kline and Austin Pendleton. The following year, Streep was cast in 4 different films. She portrayed a wealthy university patron in opera director Chen Shizheng's feature drama Dark Matter, 2007, a film about a Chinese science graduate student, played by Liu Yi, who becomes violent after dealing with academic politics at a U.S. university. The project took its inspiration from a 1991 tragedy in which a Chinese physics student opened fire in 2 buildings on the University of Iowa campus, killing 6 people. Premiered at the Sundance Film Festival and initially scheduled for a 2007 release, producers and investors decided to shelve Dark Matter out of respect for the Virginia Tech massacre in April 2007. Finally released in 2008, the drama received negative to mixed reviews, scoring an average 33 at Rotten Tomatoes. Rehan Harmansi of the San Francisco Chronicle remarked that if only it weren't based on a true story, it might have been a good movie, but it's a tricky business, and Dark Matter does no one right by sticking to the shocking conclusion. Streep played a U.S. government official, who investigates an Egyptian foreign national in Washington, D.C. suspected of terrorism in the Middle East, in the political thriller Rendition, 2007. Directed by Gavin Hood and co-starring Jake Gyllenhaal, Reese Witherspoon, and Alan Arkin, the film centers on the controversial CIA practice of extraordinary rendition, and is based on the true story of Khalid El-Masri, a German citizen who in 2003 was kidnapped, interrogated and tortured by the CIA for several months as a part of the War on Terror, apparently due to a misunderstanding that arose concerning the similarity of the spelling of El-Masri's name with the spelling of suspected Al-Qaeda terrorist al-Masri. Keen to get involved into a thriller film, Streep welcomed the opportunity to star in a film genre she usually was not offered scripts for and immediately signed onto the project. Upon its release, Rendition became a failure, grossing just $27 million, and received mixed reviews. Peter Travers of Rolling Stone applauded the cast, but noted that the film was a bust as a persuasive drama. Also in 2007, Streep had a short role alongside Vanessa Redgrave, Claire Danes, Toni Collette and Glenn Close in Laho's Coltized drama film Evening, based on the 1998 novel of the same name by Susan Minot. Switching between the present and the past, it tells the story of Anne Lord, a woman on the precipice of her death. Redgrave, who, bedridden in body but not in spirit, remembers her tumultuous life the mid-1950s. Streep joined not until late into the production of the film, playing Lord's friend Leela, a role she shared with her eldest daughter Mamie Gummer, who portrayed the same character at a younger age. The film was released to lukewarm reactions by critics, who called it beautifully filmed, but decidedly dull and a colossal waste of a talented cast, and earned just $12.8 million during its limited release. Streep's last film of 2007 was Lions for Lambs, a war film drama also starring Tom Cruise and Robert Redford that takes aim at the U.S. government's prosecution of the wars in the Middle East, showing 3 different simultaneous stories: a senator who launches a new military strategy and details it to a journalist, played by Streep, on the edge of a mental breakdown, 2 soldiers involved in said operation, and their college professor trying to re-engage a promising student by telling him their story. Produced with barely a year between announcement and release, director Redford considered the movie the tightest schedule I've ever worked with. Upon its release, Lions for Lambs received generally negative reviews from critics, with Wesley Morris from the Boston Globe writing, "It does not feel good to report that a movie with Robert Redford, Meryl Streep, and Tom Cruise makes the eyelids droop, but that's what Lions for Lambs does." 2008-2009. In 2008, Streep found major commercial success when she starred in Felita Lloyd's Mamma Mia, a film adaptation of the 1999 West End musical of the same name, based on the songs of Swedish pop group ABBA. Shot in England and Greece along with Amanda Seyfried, Pierce Brosnan, and Colin Firth. She played the free-spirited single mother Donna in the film, a former backing singer and owner of a small hotel on an idyllic Greek island, whose daughter, Seyfried, a bride-to-be who never met her father, invites three likely paternal candidates to her wedding. Streep, who had seen the Broadway version of the musical several years earlier, felt absolutely flabbergasted about Lloyd's offer to star in Screen Musical, though her cast was not greenlit until a successful rehearsal with original ABBA member Benny Andersson months before filming. Altogether, she recorded 14 songs for the film, including Money, 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 Dancing Queen and The Winner Takes It All, some of which re-entered several music charts around the globe. An instant box office success, Mamma Mia became Streep's highest-grossing film to date, with box office receipts of $602.6 million, also ranking it first among the highest-grossing musical films of all time. Nominated for another Golden Globe, Streep's performance was generally well received by critics, with Wesley Morris of the Boston Globe writing, "Indeed, Streep brings out the best in everybody. She's connecting with an audience in a way she never has, grinning, eye-rolling, bouncing, and at one point, looking right at us. It's an electric image that's been 30 years in coming. The greatest actor in American movies has finally become a movie star." Streep's other film of 2008 was Doubt, featuring Philip Seymour Hoffman, Amy Adams, and Viola Davis, an adaptation of John Patrick Shanley's Pulitzer Prize-winning fictional stage play Doubt, a Parable, also written and directed by Shanley. The drama revolves around the stern principal nun, Streep, of a Bronx Catholic school in 1964 who brings charges of pedophilia against a popular priest, Hoffman, handpicked by Shanley, who decided on replacing the stage actors for the film. Streep used a cultured Bronx accent for her portrayal of Sister Aloysius Bouvier, a character she compared with her powerful but dragon-like roles in The Manchurian Candidate, 2004, and The Devil Wears Prada, 2006. Though Doubt became a moderate box office success, earning over $50 million in ticket sales, the film was hailed by many critics as one of the best of 2008. Critic Manola Dargis of The New York Times concluded that the air is thick with paranoia in Doubt, but nowhere as thick, juicy, sustained or sustaining as Meryl Streep's performance. She blows in like a storm, shaking up the story's reverential solemnity with gusts of energy and comedy. The film received 5 Academy Awards nominations, for its 4 lead actors and for Shanley's script. Streep also garnered her first award for Outstanding Performance by a Female Actor from the Screen Actors Guild. In 2009, Streep played Chef Julia Child in Nora Ephron's comedy film Julie and Julia, co-starring Amy Adams and Stanley Tucci, one on the first major motion pictures based on a blog. It contrasts the life of Child in the early years of her culinary career with the life of New Yorker Julie Powell, Adams, who aspires to cook all 524 recipes in Child's cookbook Mastering the Art of French Cooking in 365 Days, a challenge she described on her popular The Julia Project blog. Ephron's only choice, Streep considered her portrayal both an idealized version of Julia and personal homage to her mother, who had a similar joie de vivre, an undeniable sense of how to enjoy her life. Streep received universal acclaim for her performance, which won her a 7th Golden Globe, a Satellite Award and a 16th Oscar nomination. In his review of the film, critic A.O. Scott of The New York Times affirmed that by now Streep has exhausted every superlative that exists, and to suggest that she has outdone herself is only to say that she's done it again. As in 2002 and the year before, Streep received a 2nd Golden Globe nomination for her cast in another project that year, Nancy Meyers' romantic comedy It's Complicated, 2009. Starring alongside Alec Baldwin and Steve Martin, the actress played a successful bakery owner who starts a secret affair with her ex-husband 10 years after their divorce. Written by Meyers with Streep in mind, the film was released to generally mixed reviews by critics, who applauded the cast, but declared it a predictable romantic comedy fare, going for broad laughs instead of subtlety and nuance. A commercial success worldwide, however, It's Complicated collected $220 million at international box offices. For their performances, the cast was awarded a National Board of Review of Motion Pictures Award for Best Ensemble Cast the same year. Also in 2009, Streep replaced Cate Blanchett as the voice of the vixen Felicity Fox, the female main character in Wes Anderson's stop-motion animated film Fantastic Mr. Fox, 2009. Based on the Roald Dahl children's novel of the same name, the film tells the story about a fox named Mr. Fox, voiced by George Clooney, who is able to outwit a group of farmers and lives underground after stealing food from them each night. Fantastic Mr. Fox received positive reviews from a vast majority of critics, and was nominated for the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature. Also in 2009, an article in The Independent called Streep's money-making ability the Streep Effect, noting that Julie and Julia, in which she plays the kitchen guru Julia Child, has already taken more than $28.5 million, £17 million, since its U.S. release 2 weeks ago, and has sent Child's 1961 book Mastering the Art of French Cooking back to the top of bestseller lists, as well as triggering a boom in interest in French cuisine classes in the U.S., after the star uncharacteristically sang and danced, in dungarees. What's more, in last year's ABBA musical Mamma Mia, the highest-grossing British film ever, not only did the Swedish group's Gold collection top the album charts, there was also a surge in demand from couples who wanted to marry on the Greek island of Skopelos, as in the film, with EasyJet reporting flights up 13% in the months after the film's release.